Okay. So welcome everyone, and thanks for joining on this fantastic Wednesday. It's Wednesday. So if you're not familiar with Doug or Dynamics User Group, we are a community of 47,000 community members and growing. If you have not joined Dynamics User Group, it's a free community, so feel free to check it out at dynamicsusergroup.com. There's tons of content out there, and the goal is to build community, encourage connections, and empowering education across the Microsoft Dynamics space, Power Platform, Copilot, whatever we're calling it, this week. So as names change, we also love to be involved with them. A few rules of engagement before we start. Be courteous. Please contribute to the meeting, but also let everyone participate. I did enable the Q&A in chat, so if you have a question, feel free to drop it in there or in general chat, and we'll make sure that you get an answer if we have time during the presentation today, but if not, we can make sure that you get some of your questions answered. But be courteous, use the hand raise feature, or wait for pauses of does anyone have any questions, to chime in. Please don't speak over the presenter. We want this to be an inclusive and comfortable environment. So if you have anything you want to add, please add it in the comments, and we can address those. Some programs that Doug does have, and they're all free programs, forums, webinars, virtual conferences, Team Up, Skill Up, all of this content is usually out on YouTube. This session will join the ranks of I don't know how many YouTube videos on the Doug channel. So if you miss something while Rachit is presenting, you can always go back and look at it on YouTube later. We'll make sure that link gets posted to our group. Different regional in-person events are also happening. And we did just have our in-person DynamicsCon 2 weeks ago. Some events that are coming up in North America. In June, if you are in Canada, there is a free event June 16th and 17th. In Colorado in August, Ohio in August as well, Texas in September, and then we are already planning, yes, that does say January 2016, we are already planning the Southeast Regional Meetup in Tampa in January. If you're interested in any of these, check out the Doug LinkedIn page or the Doug website for more information on how you can sign up for these events. If you are international, not in North America, there are some meetups and regionals coming up. West and East Africa in July. And then if you happen to be in Copenhagen in September, there is a regional DynamicsCon going on there. And if you did not hear, DynamicsCon 2026 will be in Las Vegas. There is an early bird price going on right now. You can check out that QR code for more information on how you can buy your tickets, but that's going to be in May of 2026. DynamicsCon 2025 was, again, 2 weeks ago. It was a fantastic event, the largest DynamicsCon that has happened so far in person. So it's only growing. So if you're interested, check that out, and call for speakers and things like that will be happening later in the year. So keep an eye out for that if you are interested in speaking at the conference in Las Vegas. So I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Rachit. So Rachit is a Microsoft MVP, a fantastic human being. So thank you so much for being with us today, Rachit, and speaking to us about Copilot.
Thank you, Brittany. It's always a pleasure presenting at Doug. All right, I'll start sharing my screen. Let me know once you can see it.
Yep, I can see it.
Perfect. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you are joining. Today we will be talking about how we can elevate user experience for Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation applications using Copilot Studio. Finance and Operations is the ERP offering of Microsoft for enterprise grade customers. We will start with a quick introduction of myself. So I am based in Australia, Melbourne. It's a beautiful country. I am also a Microsoft MVP from last 2 consecutive years. I currently work for a company called Velrada, which is asset intensive expert in dynamic space. Uh, I have been working in this space for from year 2005. During the journey, I worked as X++ developer, technical architect, and now I work as an enterprise architect. I've completed TOGAF certification, Microsoft certifications for solution architecture, and I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. My QR code to connect with me on LinkedIn is on screen, so feel free to scan and reach out to me and connect for any networking opportunities. So for next 45 minutes or so, I will be talking about what are the AI capabilities in the platform, the different flavors of Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations Copilot for finance and in finance, how we can extend using Copilot Studio, and a bit of architecture around how we can actually use X++ programming language to create AI plugins, which can be identified by Copilot Studio platform. During the session, if you have any questions, you can either raise hand, or if you want, you can post it in the chat window. We can take them as we go. Cool. So first, I will talk a bit about the AI capabilities in the platform. And I would also like to mention that the generative AI is a new type of AI we are talking about, but the AI capabilities existed in this platform for a very long time. There have been features where we used complex algorithms using AI to do demand forecasting, sales forecasting. There were AI capabilities in expense management where we can capture expense receipt and submit as a claim. There were capabilities in commerce around product review and recommendations. So AI is not new to the platform, but generative AI has created that buzz over last few years, and it is making a lot of good impact on the product. So we will be talking about two different flavors, Copilot for finance and Copilot in finance. So the word itself has a good differentiator, which can also be confusing sometimes. But Copilot for finance is basically an Excel and Outlook-based experience, which is outside the application UI. Whereas Copilot in Finance is the experience which you get inside the Finance and Operations app. So that's how it's different. Copilot for Finance has its own license requirements, whereas Copilot in Finance comes as a part of your base licenses. We will also talk about, when we talk about in finance experience, there are different flavors of it again. There are summarization capabilities, workspace capabilities, and sidecar experience. And recently there have been new immersive experience, which is more like agentic AI capabilities, which were released as a part of preview around supplier communication agent and accounts reconciliation agent. So this is a very high level view of the AI capabilities if we have to categorize them into various sections. I will be juggling a bit between the presentation and the application so that while we are on the particular topic, I can show you how it works. So when we talk about Copilot for finance is basically enabling you to do your financial activities in Excel, things like cash flow forecasting, bank statement, account reconciliations. These type of activities can be done using Copilot for Finance inside Excel using an add-in. And also you can do some tasks like creating a new customer contact or updating a due date against an invoice using the Outlook experience. So these two different flavors exist in the ecosystem. And also worth mentioning that Copilot for Finance can talk to other ERP applications as well, apart from finance and operations. So you can actually connect it with SAP, pull your data in Excel, do your reconciliations, and use Copilot to generate the reconciliation summaries. I'll quickly open up the application. Give me a minute to show you how it looks. I'll share my screen again. So this is Outlook experience where I have installed Copilot for Finance, and we can actually enable it through the add-in app. So what happens when it loads, it actually starts sensing what you are doing in the Outlook. So here, if I type an email address, what it will try to do is it will try to find it in the linked ERP application, and it will come up with some details. In this case, this email address probably doesn't exist. So it should come up and say, cannot find it. Hopefully it works. Let's just wait for it to pop up. It's still in preview. So while it's loading, what we can also do is I'll show you basically the type of things you can do from Outlook is you can update a due date against an invoice, or you can create a contact, you can add a note, you can pull the invoice attachments. It does a lot of things. Let me open one more session of it. Just some more warm up time. I'll use a different email address here. So here I'll connect with my finance system. Yeah, so the previous one came back. It said it cannot find, not saved yet. So I can actually add this email address as a contact in my ERP application. So I can say add Rachit Garg. Now here is the magic happening. It is actually going to pull all my customers from ERP in the Copilot for Finance add-in. And I can actually select against which customer I want to create this email address as a contact. So it's just pulling all the customers from Contoso demo database environment. It is behaving a bit slow. And on the other window, it's loading. Yeah. So while it's loading, maybe we can continue. I can talk a bit about the next slide, and I can come back to this. Yeah, so it's just too slow today for some reason. All right, well, we'll wait for it to load. In the meantime, we can continue with the slides there. So Copilot for Finance, this is a bit of a high-level architecture of Copilot for Finance. So the way it works is basically you have to enable it through the admin center. The office administrators can enable it and install it for users. And then the client layer is where users interact with it using Excel or Outlook. And then this all magic happens behind the scene where the finance Copilot services are running to talk to your backend applications, knowledge sources using Microsoft Graph. It can crawl your Office 365 data. And then Azure OpenAI services are also running to summarize and bring the AI capability. So this is a bit of a high level architecture. When we talk about Copilot in Finance, we talk about different capabilities like summarization, which has been in the product for a long time now. It has been for almost a year, where you can actually see product summaries, purchase order summaries, workflow summaries on screens. Workspaces is the place where you can actually do some activities. So I'll show you in terms of workspaces, there have been workspaces released for purchase, confirmed purchase order with changes. this was a workspace where you can actually manage changes to your purchase orders. Let me quickly see if that thing is working. Yeah, it is pretty slow. So I'll continue with the workspaces. Just a minute. So confirmed purchase order with changes is a workspace. Basically, what you see here is where AI is actually identifying your low impact, high impact, and downstream impacts based on the purchase order which were confirmed and which have been changed. So in this case, system has actually identified one purchase order and for which product, and then what is the downstream impact, like which production orders or sales orders will get impacted if the delivery of this purchase order line is changed. So this is where the AI is doing its magic, and all this is happening behind the scenes using OpenAI and Dataverse AI plugins. So we have a slide where I'll talk about the architecture of the summarization capabilities and the workspace capabilities. So everything happens through Dataverse. So what happens is in finance and operations, there are classes written using X++ code, and then there is a service which is basically a framework of Dataverse, which is called as an organization service, which is invoked through X++, and the data is sent from finance and operations to Dataverse, which comes here. And then in Dataverse, there are AI plugins and uh, AI plugins written. The custom AI APIs are deployed with the request and response parameters, which then talk to OpenAI and they return the response back to finance and operations. So all this happens asynchronously. And here we can see the list of areas where the summarization capabilities exist, and it is growing with every release. So this is also a pattern which partners and customers can adopt to. And if they want to create some new type of summarization capabilities for their modules, they can develop new summarization capabilities. I'll just show it in the product as well. So if I, for example, open any vendor, then whenever a vendor screen is loaded and I open a particular vendor in detail form, then what happens is there is an asynchronous process triggered where the data of that vendor is captured in X++, sent to Dataverse. Dataverse calls the OpenAI plugins. But while this is loading, you can actually work on the system. So it doesn't impact your performance. And then you get a summary that what is happening with that particular vendor. It does take care of your security profile. So if you don't have access to some fields, then those fields are not sent in the payload, which is sent to Dataverse. I will be using a little bit of technical language as we move so that people who are from technology side can understand how these things are working behind the scenes. In case of workspaces, there are a confirmed purchase order with changes, which I just shown, and then there is collection coordinator workspace, which is basically helping the collection coordinators people by showing the highest customers with the highest open balance and with the most aged balance. So I'll quickly show you in the system. There is a customer collection over here. Collection coordinator. This is the workspace where, again, same pattern. The data is going from F&O to Dataverse. Dataverse is invoking Dataverse AI plugins. AI plugins are talking to OpenAI and keep collecting all this information. These capabilities have been in the product for quite a while now. And then the third experience is the sidecar architecture. Now, sidecar is the experience where if within finance and operation, you can actually open this, click on the little Copilot button here, and it opens a sidecar. And now this is where a lot of innovation is happening because this is working via Copilot Studio. This is where Copilot Studio kicks into giving AI capabilities to the platform. And with Copilot Studio, partners, customers, ISVs are creating their own AI plugins and AI models, which can actually work with finance and operations data and build some automation for the user. So this sidecar experience is basically built using Copilot Studio. Whereas the others, like summarization and workspace, they are mostly driven by the Dataverse APIs. A little bit of architecture on the sidecar. So basically, what happens is finance and operation is data is integrated with Power Platform. That's by default now. Every time you deploy finance and operations environment, you get an equivalent Power Platform integration, Power Platform environment. Data goes to Dataverse, and then Copilot Studio is doing a lot of magic, working together with the Microsoft Azure OpenAI large language models to summarize and give the response back to the users. Now, all this is we are talking about so far is happening within the finance and operations UI. But finance and operations has other type of UI also, which is exposed. So, for example, commerce in warehouses. So there are capabilities around point of sale systems, which also talk to finance and operations application. And there have been a lot of innovation in that space as well. So there are Copilot summaries available in commerce space, where Copilot can basically generate insights for the customers, their purchase patterns, what they prefer, what type of conversations the agent can actually spark with a customer, and what type of timelines they're looking for. So there is a good amount of information about a customer which is present to the uh, front office staff, and which can help increase the sales. There are other Copilot capabilities where you can get store report insights, you can get AI generated summaries for statement postings, and you can get Copilot based summaries for merchandising data. So a lot of innovation happening in commerce space, even for the commerce platform, which is a website, like an external website to host your products. There are Copilot capabilities to create the web pages and create your product information. There is also a demand planning application, which is part of finance and operations application portfolio, which is a supply chain premium license. But it is a tool where you can actually bring your all the sales historical data and generate forecast, and Copilot exists there as well. So it can basically help you to analyze your forecasting trends, and you can click on a particular point in the graph, and it will show you what data actually comprises of that particular uh, analysis result. So it can give you a lot of different flavors of how this particular graph is being generated. So Copilot is part of demand planning application as well. In terms of the advanced warehousing mobile app, there are Copilot summarization capabilities where it can tell you about what's happening in your warehouse. So I have that app installed on my local device. So this is how the warehousing app looks like. If I go to basically Copilot here in the summary, it can show you what are these what's happening in my warehouse and how much movement is happening and where are the goods sitting. So again, a pattern for customers and partners to extend and innovate. This is all given by Microsoft as a baseline, but something which you can think about, take it forward, and create more good experiences. Now, in the next few slides, I'll talk about something new which has come. Supplier communication agent. So this is where the generative AI is going to the next level. So from summarization and chatbot experiences, which were the inception of AI capabilities in the product, now the whole platform has evolved, and we are talking about agents working for you. And this is an example of how we can infuse agentic experience in your ERP application. So supplier communication agent is actually a Copilot agent, uh, which will require its own license as well once it's GA. But as of now, that's what I have learned from the websites and reading the material. But what it does is basically it follow up with your vendors on the purchase orders which are getting delayed. So as a procurement specialist, you might want to follow with the vendors if the goods have been not delivered, and this agent can do it on your behalf. It can speed up your communications with the vendor. And also, if there are any changes which your vendors have emailed to you that I can only deliver partial quantity, it will scan those emails, it will show you in the summary, and it will help you adjust your purchase orders. So if we look at the procure to pay life cycle, where you are actually following up with a vendor. You send a purchase order to vendor, you do a follow-up with a confirmation, you receive a confirmation, you update your purchase order, and then you might need to also follow up on a delayed purchase order. And this, wherever you see this stamp, these all are things where AI can help. So AI is actually helping you to identify those unconfirmed POs, create an email, send it out, read your incoming emails, and it can also create your follow-up emails. How it works is basically uh, the inbound flavor works by scanning your emails. So in order to do this, you will have to enable your email synchronization with Dataverse. So this is done by the administrators, the tenant administrators. They will have to select for which particular account you want to enable the email synchronization between the Outlook and Dataverse, which is in Power Platform. Now, once that synchronization is enabled, then you have to fire up some Copilot agents, which come as a part of installing the Copilot solution in Power Platform. It also deploys some Power Automates under the hood. So you basically, which will do all the scanning and extraction of the data. And then it basically sends data to finance and operation tables where you feed and seed all that calculated data. And then in finance and operations, you can do email mapping and matching. This happens with the inbound scenarios. What happens in the outbound is basically there is again, it's all driven by the agent with running at a recurrence in Power Platform and working together with Copilot Studio. So there is a Power Automate under the hood and Copilot Studio working together to identify and scan your finance and operations purchase order data to identify which orders need follow-up. And if it finds such orders, it will create a draft email for you and it will be shown in a workspace. You can then review that email and send it to the client. So I have been trying to configure supplier communication agent, and believe me, it's something which can take a bit of time. It doesn't happen with a click of a button, but I'll try to show how it looks like. So we are at the immersive home experience, which is currently in preview, which is coming as a part of version 10.0.44. This is where you will be able to manage your supplier communication agent and account reconciliation agents and more agents coming in future. So basically here we can see the agent is active. It has identified some follow-up scenarios. And if I click, it will show me here that this is a follow-up email which needs to be reviewed with this vendor. And this is the purchase order number, which is currently confirmed, but we have not received the goods yet. So here it is suggesting you an email which says, hey, I'm writing you to follow up the status of this. Please let us know when the order will be arrived. And it automatically creates a table with the purchase order lines. And you can actually then review, modify it, and then you can send it to the vendor. So for a procurement agent to come and find all this information and draft this email, system is automatically doing it for you. So agents are working with humans to speed up the things. In order to basically configure the agents, you can actually click on view agents here. And here you can basically define what type of agents you want to run and how many instances of these agents you want to run. So basically, if I have to create multiple instances of these agents, I can do that. So for example, in this case, to send a follow-up email to vendor, I can actually click on edit button. And here I will get a basically prompt which says, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to draft an email for delayed purchase order or unconfirmed purchase order? You want to do it per purchase order or per vendor? If you do it per vendor, then you can basically group multiple purchase orders in a single request. What tone you want to use. So these all options are coming by default. Now this is where the magic is. Which fields do you want to include in this email? Users can actually select which fields you want to be part of the email, which is going out to the vendor. This is where users can, depending on your use case industry, you can select which fields you want to be part of it. And then you also can define which purchase orders needs to be scanned for. So in my case, I have this is a default one where Julia is the default admin employee in the Contoso, but basically you have all the criteria here and you can actually add more values here. So you can say, okay, when my purchase order pool is equal to a particular value, AI or something, and you have got different options here. So you can actually define your own criteria. You can also open advanced query screens where if you understand the whole data model under the hood, you can basically join tables, you can add more relations to the table. So just an example of how you can define the conditions to be evaluated when the agent is running. And you can then have as many as agent instances running. So you can have, based on your scenarios, define them. Similarly, there is account reconciliation agent where you can select and edit and define how it should run. So account reconciliation agent, I'll come to that after supply communication. I just thought to show while we are on the screen, but you can actually manage all the agents running and their instances. This one is the purchase order updates from vendor. This is where if the vendor is sending you an email. So this is where you can configure if you want to track for a particular vendor or you want to track uh, all the vendors. Then you can select which email address you want to define here, and then you basically enable. Now this magic button takes a lot of effort to configure under the hood. So what you have to first do is make sure that your email is synchronized with Dataverse. Then you have installed the latest version of the Copilot for Finance, Copilot for Supply Chain Solutions in Dataverse. And then basically, I'll quickly show if I get go to admin. So basically, in my admin center in the environment, I can actually show you how that looks like. But basically, we go to the Dynamics 365 apps. What I did, a pro tip here is we have to, thanks to the community, which helped me to find this. I actually uninstalled all the old versions and reinstalled the new ones. That way it was much cleaner. So you can uninstall it from your Power Platform Center, make.powerapps.com. From there, you can install all the Copilot solutions, and then you can install it fresh from the app source. Also, if you want to try that, then try it in a non-prod environment before doing it. Then, apart from this, what we also have is in the Copilot Studio, you can go and basically I'll show you what it does under the hood. It also creates some Power Automates, which come as a part of those solutions. So here you see these Copilot for Finance and Operations. So there is a particular version. This probably a new update has been released, but it has to be a particular version where if you want to run the account reconciliation agent. So all this works under the hood. I'll just be mindful of time. Just a minute. So you will see all these Power Automates gets created to send speed up updates and follow up emails. All these Power Automates and Copilot Studio, everything works together. So maybe a topic for a separate session where we can do deep dive, but make sure all these flows are running, your connectors are working. You have to specify some specific security rules. So there is a nice article on Microsoft Learn, which tells you how to set up supply communication agent. Another thing, okay, let's move on. Just a time check. Yeah. So this was about supplier communication agent. I have captured a slide from one of the Microsoft Tech Talk of what needs to be done. This can be helpful. I can share the slide with Brittany and she can put it somewhere. Now we'll come to the interesting part of how we can extend using Copilot Studio and how we can write AI plugins. So I'll talk about these things. Okay. While we are here, I'll also show you how the account reconciliation agent looks like before I go into Copilot Studio. So account reconciliation agent is basically another AI agent which is trying to find some things which might need your attention in your GL. So here system has found one exception where it says I have an exception of 200 USD in this particular USMF bank account. and I can actually click on the exception and it should take me to the detail of that exception. And here it will tell me, okay, this particular entry is in ledger, but it's not in subledger. So you might have accounts which are tied to posting profile where users can't manually do posting to the directly to the ledger. And if such instances are happening, system can identify and bring it to your attention. And then it's up to you. If it's a valid business scenario, you can accept it without any changes. But if you want to reverse it, or if you want to create a journal entry, you can actually do it directly from here. So instead of navigating around different forms, screens, buttons, data entry, you can actually do a lot of things from the accounts reconciliation workspace. This is another example where how agents are working together with end users to basically speed up the task. I'll see if there is any question so far before we move forward. All right. Um, cool. So now we'll, yeah. Hi, Deb. How are you? You have a question?
Hey Rachit, um, yeah, thank you. Great presentation so far. Just wanted to understand the extensible extension capabilities. For example, now we're talking about the supplier communications agent. Likewise, we have on the AR side, we need to, let's say if we need to communicate or send these automated emailers to the customer, reminding them of the collection. So how easy would that be? Or if Microsoft doesn't come up with the AR side of the feature on
Yeah.
communication, something like this, then would it be easy for customization, uh, customizing this thing? Just wanted to understand that.
Yep, great question, Deb. So definitely customers and partners can build their own agents which can perform or solve a specific industry problem. With regards to what Microsoft is shipping as supplier communication agent or the account reconciliation agent, my current understanding is that these are managed solutions in Power Platform which you cannot modify. But if you want to create a new agent, for example, in your case, if you want to have just like your purchase order follow-up agent, you want to create your sales order notification agent to your customers. You can, of course, create new agents that need some skill set around not only F&O, people who can write X++ code, plus you will also need someone who understands Power Platform, Dataverse plugins, Dataverse AI, Copilot Studio. So it's a combination of different
Mhm.
technologies which come together. I cannot comment how easy or difficult it is. It just depends on your use case and skill set sitting in the team, but it is definitely possible.
Okay, it's possible then in that case.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yep, yep, that
yeah,
makes
cool.
sense. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so let's dive into Copilot Studio. So before we go deep, I basically created one agent for this demo just to speed things up, but I will talk a little bit about the anatomy of Copilot Studio. So Copilot Studio can be accessed through copilotstudio.microsoft.com. When you log in, one most important thing is to make sure you select the right environment. These are the Power Platform environments you have. Then basically go to your home page where you can see a Copilot within a Copilot Studio to help you create a new Copilot. So I think if we count how many times we take this word Copilot nowadays, it's overwhelming now. But yes, you can use Copilot to create Copilot, which is here. But then you see here all your recent Copilots, and these are some templates which Microsoft has published, which you can explore and use as a baseline template. There is a lot of good learning resource links available here. You can see the list of agents by clicking on agents. These are all the agents available. And here you will see that these are your account reconciliation agents, which are deployed when you install the Dataverse solution. Then there is a Copilot for Finance and Operations app. This is actually the Copilot which is driving your sidecar experience in Finance and Operations app. So this is what Microsoft has published. And the great thing is we can enhance it. So if you have to extend the capabilities of sidecar, which is running within Finance and Operations, this is the Copilot where you can go and add new things. So here you will see all the descriptions. You will see now the anatomy is the Copilot is basically having these structures. It has something called as knowledge. Knowledge is like knowledge sources. You can add knowledge sources, which could be the documentations of your company, product brochures, your company policies, your business process guides, your public websites, all these things you can add as a knowledge source, and Copilot will basically learn it and respond to it. Topics are conversational things. So if you type something and based on the it will then try to match the relevant topic. So if you say, I want to create a purchase order, and if you have a topic which resonates to that particular definition, it will trigger that topic. It's like a listener to what message you are saying, and then what happens under that topic is basically like a little workflow. So if we just open, it says, okay, when this topic is triggered, then what do we do? So uh, so this is the whole concept of topics. You can define multiple topics. A best practice recommendation is not to overload your Copilot with a lot of topics. Use Copilot topics and maybe define multiple Copilots so that one Copilot is doing one thing in the best possible way. Actions is where you basically define something which can be triggered by a topic. And this is where AI plugins come into picture, and your X++ logic can be exposed as AI actions here. This is all around the activities and analytics, and this is around the channels where you can actually publish your Copilot. So for this demo, what I have done is I have created a Doug Dynamics 365 agent just to showcase some capabilities. I know we have limited time, can't go through everything in detail, but basically what you will do here is when you create an agent, you can add knowledge sources. So I came and I have actually fed the Dynamics 365 licensing guide here, which is almost a 500-page document, and it can answer your questions around licensing now. So if I have to ask a question to my chatbot that how much database capacity I get with Dynamics 365 Finance license, I can actually ask this question, and what you will see here is that it will start a session now. It has identified that this answer lies in this knowledge source which I have uploaded, and it will tell me the response that Dynamics 365 license include your 10 GB of Dataverse capacity and 60 GB of operational database capacity. Now, if someone new has to open this license guide and find this information, it can take a while, but Copilot can answer it quickly. If I say I have 1,000 assets to maintain, how many, let's say how many operation licenses I need. Sorry, I'm just trying to come up with this at runtime. I hope it gives an answer. We'll see. So let us see what it finds. So this is how you can actually seed knowledge sources, and Copilot can use generative AI to crawl through it, understand your question, and come up with a response. So while this is happening, I will, okay, let's wait and see what it replies. I'm not sure even if the answer sits in the, oh yeah, it gives an answer. To maintain 1,000 assets in Dynamics 365, you will need to purchase additional asset management capacity licenses. The included capacity for supply chain management is 100 assets per tenant per month. Therefore, you need 10 additional asset management licenses to cover 1,000 assets. So this is where the benefit of Copilot is that it can reduce the time which you would have invested to find an answer. Yes, Deb. Yeah.
Yeah, this seems like a gold mine for the licensing buffs. It's always a pain.
Definitely.
Is this available
Yeah.
like in the public domain or?
So I'll show you how you can create it. So basically what you do is you go to knowledge and you can add a knowledge. And what all I have done is I have
Okay.
uploaded the licensing guide. That's it. I uploaded the licensing guide, and then once the knowledge is, and here while we are here, you can also upload your SharePoint sites, you can upload public websites. I actually
Okay.
created a chatbot to help new parents when I was going through parenting. So I actually added a lot of public websites on Australian parenting guidelines into a chatbot, and I can then quickly ask, okay, how can I increase the sleep time of my baby? And it can give me some answers. You can add
Oh, that's
Dataverse, which
nice.
is where you can actually ingest finance and operations data as a knowledge source. So you can add virtual entities of finance and operations as knowledge sources. Also, you have got access to all the Power Platform Dataverse tables which you have here. So basically, you can ingest a table, you can ask questions about it. Yeah, you just upload the file, let it train. When the status is ready, start asking questions. So
Okay,
it was
fantastic.
like, yeah, that's how the
Oh,
experience is.
thank you.
No problem. Yeah. So that was around the knowledge. Yes, hi Raj.
Hey, Rachit, quick one. After we create an agent by adding some knowledge bases, what is the ALM? Is it something I can connect? I can connect with FNO, or I can release it as an agent?
Yeah, good question, Raj. So basically, the ALM side of Copilot is a big topic in itself, but technically it becomes a part of your Power Platform solution. So Copilot Studio sits under Power Platform. So if you are creating new Copilot agents, you have to package it in your Power Platform solution and then follow the life cycle of Power Platform ways. So I think if you search Copilot ALM process, there was a recent tech talk also, but there are some articles. I also read them, but what I have also understood is you have to basically package it as a part of your Power Platform solution, and then you can deploy. So any references you're adding will be managed in a way your any other Power Platform connection reference will be managed. Because it's not, as you said, right? It's not just the Copilot, it's all about the references sitting inside it. So that is my understanding on it, Raj, if that helps.
Absolutely, Rachit. Thanks for this. This is a great pointer.
Thank you. Alrighty. So next set. Now let's do something more than talking with the data. So what I thought is how can we use AI to do some generative thing for us in finance and operations? So I created a topic basically to create something in Dynamics. And in order to create this topic, I also used a concept of AI prompts of Power Platform. So if I quickly open make.powerapps.com, so I'll tell you the structures and then show it also in parallel because uh, so that we can follow up properly. So basically, we created a topic, AI prompt, a Power Automate, and all these things are working together to create some data in finance and operations. So what I've done is I'm trying to create, let's say, as an HR person, trying to create new skills in my industry. So what I have done is, and for that I need some description. Like these are job descriptions, skill descriptions, and it's not something which people can start writing fluently. So what I did is in PowerApps.com there is something called as AI Hub, and under AI Hub you can create your own custom prompts. So I have created a custom prompt to work as a HR person and come up with a skill description. So I'll quickly show you. Uh, Hopefully it loads sooner. So, okay, while it's loading, let me show you. I'll just quickly refresh this connection because I just wanted to be active. Yeah, it's connected. Um, okay, is it loaded? Yeah, so basically when you come to AI Hub, you can see all your prompts here. You can see all the models. And I created a new prompt, which is a job description generator agent. And in this, I'm using GPT-4o mini model. And I've given this instruction that you are an HR specialist in a manufacturing company that produces dairy products such as milk, cheese, yogurt. Your task is to generate a 30-word summarized job description of the role of, and this is my input parameter, and tailor the language to be specific to dairy manufacturing industry. So this is a prompt which I will trigger from Copilot Studio. Uh, So if we go back to Copilot Studio, what I've done is I have a topic which says create new job master record in F&O. And what this topic does is it is using AI to trigger. So I'm not defining any specific trigger phases. I've just described what this topic will do. And this is where generative AI is coming to play to identify that this topic needs to be triggered. Then I will basically ask user, I will trigger the prompt to generate the description. So let's say if I say create a new job title. So it should trigger, see, it triggered the topic. And then it is asking me, please enter the job title which you need. And I'll say create for, let's say, which we don't have. We have accounting. Let's add accountant and see what happens for accountant. So now what is happening is it is actually triggering the prompt and it's generating a description for an accountant who works in a dairy manufacturing company. And see, this is where generative AI is coming to play. It says we are seeking an accountant to manage. Now, as a follow-up, it is asking me, do you want me to create this in Dynamics? And I can say, yes, go ahead and create it. And let's see what happens now. And then I'll show you how this is happening. Fingers crossed. It's all happening live. Yep, so it says record created for skill accountant. Thank you for using the agent. If I go back to finance and operation and if I refresh my screen, I'll see the accountant record is here. It has created a record with all this description. So as a user, I was not required to copy paste it from somewhere or type it or click on new and define all these 5 fields. Agent has done it for me. So how this part is happening, I'll quickly show you. If we go back, probably refresh. If I go back to my topics, so what I've done is after the AI prompt has generated the description, basically the output is stored in a variable. And this is the description we saw. Then it asked the user, do you want me to create? We say yes, create. Now, if the user has selected yes, then I've called a Power Automate, which is basically taking the input of your job title and the job description. And this Power Automate is creating a record in finance and operations using F&O connector, and then it ends the conversation. So this is how you can actually mash up different things in a topic. So you can also use things like adaptive card. You can use REST APIs. You can do a lot of things. This is just one example of a happy flow scenario where you can actually create data. You can automate things, automate business processes as well. So once your agent is created, you can actually publish it to different channels also. So you can publish it to your website. You can publish it to a free demo website, which Microsoft has hosted. So make sure you don't publish to demo website copilots which have some sensitive information. But if you have, let's say, used any public website as a knowledge source, you can do that. You can also publish it to Teams and Copilot. So I actually published this chatbot to Teams. So let's quickly try that again. I'll go and delete this accountant from here. Let's try to create it again from Teams. So this is another food for thought where actually we can create copilots which are actually embedded within Teams and not in finance and operation. So I was just testing few prompts on the agent and it gave me a pretty nice reply. So let's create again, create job description. So let's see the chat experience. Please enter the title, content. So here, same experience. It's just that I was testing in the Copilot Studio. Now I'm interacting with Teams. And do you want me to create? Yes, please create. So it's basically something similar, and you can, this is where also the power of Copilot Studio, your experience will remain same no matter where you publish this chatbot. I have put it into Teams. You can put it on your websites. You can put it on your different applications, and then you can build your own experiences. So let's quickly wait for it to finish, and I will come back to slide. Just one thing I'll show. So the record is created. If I go back and if I refresh. I've got my record here. So that's one example here. Quick thing I just want to talk about AI plugins is basically if you will go to the Copilot Studio and look at the agent which Microsoft has published for finance and operations, you will actually see a lot of AI actions there. I'll just quickly change my environment because I think it was this. It's basically you write X++ code with some attributes on top where they have to basically use this Copilot chat action. You just decorate the class. There is a nice document by Microsoft of how to expose these in using X++ classes. What you then have to do is once you generate these classes, you have to go and create the AI plugins in Dataverse. You have to define the request response parameters, and then you will have to, then they will automatically get reflected in Copilot Studio. So Microsoft tried to automate this thing, but then due to the ALM aspects, they have to revert it back because the Dataverse components will sit in Power Platform solutions. So here, if you look at actions, probably not here, in the topics, yeah. So these are the topics where you can see what are the standard topics available. It can actually pick standard user context also. So yeah, a lot of things to learn in this space. What I want to talk after this is something equally or maybe more exciting as we move forward. So far, we have been doing a lot of modeling of plumbing manually. Now what's coming ahead? So we have to gear up for future. What's coming ahead is recently in build, Microsoft has announced that model context protocol servers are going to be available for finance and operations and CRM applications. Now, what does this mean is that the way agents talk to each other is going to be more fluid, more effective. It's like injecting a catalyst in a chemical reaction, which basically speeds up the whole process. So model context protocol is a big framework and a big, I would say, big technique in itself. So feel free to Google it, learn about it, but it will enable your agents to work more effectively and it will infuse more AI capabilities. So I think these, what I have understood is that the supplier communication agent and account reconciliation agents are using a bit of MCP under the hood. But as we move forward, we will see more and more similar, I would say, announcements around how things are moving and evolving in this space. And then a few references. So there is a lot of great content available online. There is a lot of great content published by Microsoft Fast Track team. So I've captured 6-7 video links which are available on YouTube, which are published by Microsoft Fast Track team, Microsoft employees, and some Fast Track engineers. So feel free to check out these videos which are available on LinkedIn, on YouTube. With that, I would like to thank you for listening to me, and I'll probably hand it over back to Brittany for any Q&A, if we have any Q&A available. Thank you for listening to me. Thanks, Kara. Nice to see you.
I don't see any questions in the chat or Q&A, so does anybody have any questions that they want to ask?
Just give me a minute. Yeah, sorry, is there a question? Yeah. Cool, all good. I'll hand it over back to Brittany then. Thank you, Brittany, for giving the opportunity. And guys, stay connected. Doug is a great community of people who are trying to learn, grow together. So please follow Doug on all the platforms, join us for upcoming events. We all are learning as we are consuming all this AI buzz. But thank you for listening and stay connected. Thank you, Brittany, for giving this opportunity.
Of course, and thank you for presenting. If you want to send those slides over to me, I'll make sure we can get those posted out on Meetup so everyone can get access to those, and we'll get this recording shared out to YouTube. So thanks everyone for coming, and have a fantastic rest of your evening or rest of your morning if you're not on this side of the world.
Cool.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Have a good day.
Good
See
night.
you. Bye.
Bye.